This episode is brought to you by McAfee.
Swimsuit, passport, phone with VPN activated.
VPN?
Cell phone service is going to be spotty on vacation, so we'll be using public Wi-Fi.
Sounds sketchy.
Exactly. The networks can leave your personal info, like credit card numbers, exposed to hackers.
McAfee's secure VPN lets you browse and bank safely from wherever, whenever. Learn more at McAfee.com/online protection.
What advice would you have? Because I think a lot of people are scared of AI.
I think that we are underestimating the value and the true impact of AI and how quickly it will disrupt. And we are so utterly unprepared that it's very scary, very scary.
For me, it's important to humanize it for everyone. I think it's our helper. But I really would like to learn what your point of view is, because it is 100% changing the way we work.
Things like this happen. Having AI disrupt data says that in the next 10 years, it's going to be something like 90 million jobs. But even if in 1 year alone, even if next year, AI displaces 5 million jobs in the US alone, that is a catastrophe. That is a massive catastrophe. And we're not prepared for that. I just think we have to come together and we have to call our politicians. We have to call our Senate members. We have to call our representatives and tell them what's going to happen with my job gets replaced with AI.
Hi, I'm Christy. I'm your host for Inside the C-Suite, where execs get real about leadership, impact, and what truly drives high-stake decisions. I'm so excited to have in studio today Enrique Rubio. Enrique is a community builder and activator. He was HR Tech's top influencer in 2024, top 100, I should say, my top maybe. And in 2025, he's the global HR influencer. Enrique is the founder of Hacking HR, which is a beautiful organization. Enrique, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you so much for inviting me. Always quite a privilege and a pleasure to chat with you.
Same. I saw you walking around in your kilts and with all the fanfare, but I completely didn't get to come up and say hi and give you a hug. It was a beautiful conference, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And we probably have to explain what the Kilt was about. I am building the global community for them, building a network of chapters in every major city around the world. And it's one of the most exciting things that I have done in my career, because I'm bringing network of people that I already knew, but I am meeting a bunch of new people, and I love that. And among the new people that I have met over the past year and a half or so are these beautiful, wonderful humans, Nikki and Gavin from Scotland. And they came to the conference last year. We met for the first time. They came again this year. And before they came, they told me, we want to bring a present for you, but you got to promise me that you're going to wear it. And I didn't know what they were talking about. And I'm like, I want to wear whatever you want me to wear. I mean, like, you guys are coming from so far. I mean, the list of the things that I can do is wear your present. Yeah. Little did I know that it was going to be a kilt. So they brought in the kilt for me, and I wore it. And obviously it became such an iconic moment for me to embrace a culture so different from mine, from what I come from, from where I live now. So anyway, that's a long story, but that's why I was wearing a kilt for a day. So it was incredible. Like, I had to ask Nikki, I had to ask him to help me put it on, because it's not difficult, but it's a little intricate. You got to move some things around, and you got to know how to wear it. So anyway, that's what, for your listeners, is I'm not Scottish, but there's a reason why I was wearing a kilt.
That's so funny. Do you have any tips for the audience on how to wear a kilt?
Make sure that you get your own size. Don't get a size smaller. But even if you get a size smaller, it doesn't really matter. The belt, they have this. It has a name. I think it's called Sporn. But I'm not totally sure if that's the name. The little bag that goes in the front of the kilt, I think it's called Sporn. I would have to look it up again. But this kilt in the past used to carry money, weapons, food. So it's very heavy. It was not heavy for me, but in the time when it was more used, it was heavy. And that means that the belt that was keeping it up in place had to be very, very tight around your waist. So I didn't know that, but it was real. And I'm like, I'm athletic, physique, but that thing was so tight just because that's the way it is. You wear it very tight so that the spawn wouldn't fall out of your kilt. So you can imagine how much I learned about. Yeah, it's called a spawn. It's called a spawn actually. So that's what I learned about my friends in Scotland.
I think it's called the original man purse, or
That
maybe a
I'm
fanny
sure it
pack.
is. It is like a fanny pack. Yeah, that's the way I felt with it. But very tight in my waist. So anyway, that's why I was wearing a kilt, and it was really such a beautiful thing to do. I just have so much love for the people that we bring in the community, and I'm very the gratitude, but also the humility to know that that love is reciprocated by them as well. For somebody to bring you a kilt from another country in a bag, you know, thousands of miles away, something that cost money, by the way, and give it to me and as a present, it's just the way that you're building something where people feel that level of love and respect for you and connection. So yeah.
That's really beautiful. And I know we jumped right into the kilt, and thank you for explaining to the audience. It probably felt a little weird that I said that. But I have to tell you, it was so awe-inspiring because I was with George LaRock, actually. We were talking and you walked right by. I was like, oh my gosh, there's Enrique. And you had a huge fanfare behind you taking us all to happy hour. It was really beautiful. The thing that resonated with me most about you as a leader, not only I think your curiosity is just off the chain, which I love, but you have kind of like an engineering background, I think, right?
I
But
do.
you lean into learning and development.
Yeah.
When your eyes light up, it's when you're training. I took your AI
Yeah.
course, and I mean, I knew that was your passion because of what you do and how you bring people together. And I love that you make it attainable for people. That's
Yeah.
my favorite thing. But watching you train and your eyes light up, there's something like that's purpose for you. And so
Yeah.
tell us about that, because I think well, I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to tell us about that. What's one thing, because I think I know what it is. What's one thing that you do better than anybody else?
Woo. Whoa. That's quite a question.
And do not be modest, because we all know what it is. I'm just curious if you know what it is.
In building community, I think it's to me yeah. And I don't want to say because I don't like people know what I do.
Hmm.
And it's funny because you look at Hacking HR and I can promise you can scroll through 5 years of content in Hacking HR and you will see my face or my name in there a couple of times. A couple of times because somebody in the team posted something about me without telling me. Um, I don't need that. And I don't like that either. People know I'm the founder of Hacking HR. I don't need to brag out there that I'm doing that. People just know, right? And I have the one-on-one conversations. But I think that is the power of somebody who builds a community out of the right reasons.
Yes.
When you build something that at the end of the day should succeed with or without you, but obviously you're putting a vision. But at the same time, you're building something that it's not for you. It's not for you to be the center of attention. And there are other groups like that, by the way, which really piss me off because they are, yeah, no, for real, because they are tainting the real purpose and the real meaning of what a community is. So if you go to a community, quote unquote community, where you find that everything is about the founder and you get disappointed of that community, the truth is you're not getting disappointed at that community. You're getting disappointed about the concept of communities because you may think, well, if I join another community, what if it's the same thing? So it's better for me not to join anything. If all I'm gonna get is being pushed down my throat, the name of that person or whatever it is. So I think a genuine leader trying to build community is somebody who is doing it for others. I mean, yes, my name is there and everybody knows that I created this team, but that's not why I did it. That's not the reason why I did it. And I enjoy being in the back end. I enjoy giving my AI program. If there was somebody else to do it in the way that I like to do it, I wouldn't be doing it myself. I would ask somebody else to do it for me. but I enjoy doing that. So I think it's community is ultimately what drives my passion. Wanting me to help them out build this movement because they know that to build something global, especially with cultures that are so different than the American culture or from the American culture, you need to have some level of authenticity that allows you to have a real conversation with people that care a lot about relationships and not so much about work outputs, right? So I approach these conversations as let's build something together, let's be part of a community rather than let's create more, let's do more output, let's get better at work. I'm like, yeah, well, those are collateral things. The main thing is we're together here building this, right? So anyway, that's kind of like what I love the most. I don't think I'm better than most, but I think, probably among the people who have built HR communities, I'm hoping that the day that I'm not here anymore, people think back and say, wow, that guy, built something, so that's going to be enough for me.
So I'm going to tell you right now that guy built something and you're still here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you before you pass on to the next life. No, but seriously, because I know this is hard for you to brag on yourself. And I want you to because hacking HR is a big deal. And I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. There's a lot of people that actually don't know it's you because it's kind of gone outside of you at this point,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is exactly what you wanted. And it's beautiful. How many members do you have and how quick did you grow it? Because I think that's pretty astounding.
Yeah. Well, when I count the people who are engaged in hacking HR in some way, shape, or form, whether it is an actual member, whether it is a participant to our events, whether it's a follower on our social media, it's got to be about a couple of million people across the board. And in our membership platform, we have 70,000 members, so people who are actually subscribed as a member in our community. But again, LinkedIn subscribers, email subscribers, followers on Instagram, which our Instagram account, I don't even look at it anymore. I had to delete Instagram from my phone because there's so much going on in the world that I was getting really fed up with the chaos. But even on Instagram, we have grown significantly over the past few months. So yeah, it's maybe a couple of million people across the board. Yeah, 70,000 members in our actual community. People who are engaged actively in what we do.
So that's nothing to sneeze at. That's quite an
No, yeah.
accomplishment. And I'm so proud of you as a
Thank you.
human and a friend and a colleague that it's such a beautiful thing. And there are people out there trying to do the same thing in their pockets and their community. And it's not easy, as you said, right? Like you
No.
learn about all of the things that could go wrong. You're dealing with people and things outside your control.
Yeah.
So
You have, you know, I'm an HR community builder. And what's interesting is that the relationship you have built with others when people that are trying to build something in your same space still contact you and ask you for advice because they know that they will get it. This doesn't happen to a lot. I mean, I'm bragging a little bit about what I built, right? Because the truth is that sometimes you try to reach out to other people and they are very selfish just
mhm.
because they think you are going to enter into their space or steal something from them. I don't have that. Whenever I see other community, I think like, well, why do you have this? Why do you have that? And I don't have that. So it's more than a comparison. It's like, oh, I would love to be like you. It's like an ideal state that I haven't achieved yet, but or that we haven't achieved yet as a team. But the truth is that you know that you're being genuine and authentic and selfless about what you build when somebody reaches out to you and asks you for that kind of advice, even when they are building something that at some point, if they do it well, may be competing with your own thing. It's I get so many calls from people that are like, I want to build a community for HR people in learning and development. And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy to share what I've learned. Take it or leave it. But I've been doing this for 8 years now. So this is what I've learned doing that. So that's important because again, when you do it for the right reasons as a community builder, yes, you're elevating your community, but you're elevating the concept of community. And
Yes.
obviously, you can't expect that the people who take part of your community will only be in your community. You have to begin from the baseline that somebody will be joining several groups at the same time. So if your group is great and you can make other groups great, then the whole concept of community becomes a lot better. Therefore, you benefit from that. So by being selfless, you're building your own thing as well. So that's a message for people building communities out there to do it for the right reasons, but to help others do it as well. That's very important.
Love you so much. So, I leaned in about your engineering background and how you're an L&D. And the thing that I love most about hacking HR is that it's inclusive and that it allows other people to come in and share their knowledge and people have access. So what you said is very important. Whether you're trying to build a community and you've never done it and you reach out to somebody, a lot of these HR and TA leaders don't have anyone to go to, right? They're usually the highest in their organization. And so what you've done, you've created a community that's inclusive with learning and development for them to get what they can't get in their own organization. And it's so attainable. And so I'm curious about your vision and mission behind that because I have attended your trainings. I have spoken at your events. I find a lot of value. I mean, at any given panel I've been on, you've had over 4,000 or 5,000 people and they stay on like the whole time. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's HR is a very lonely function. And for when I say HR, I mean the people function, right? And, TA, sometimes they don't consider themselves as part of HR, but to me, it's part of the people, umbrella, learning and development, which sometimes say, I'm not HR, but they are part of the people umbrella. So the people umbrella
Mhm.
activities, HR, TA, people analytics, learning and development, compensation and benefits, all of these things, they're very lonely. All these corporate jobs are very lonely. And you need to bring people together, to be able to talk to others and find out a couple of things. The first one is that they are not alone in their struggles. So that it's not that they are good or bad or they are falling behind or too far ahead or whatever. They are not alone. There are other people that are in the same place where they are. There are other people that are farther ahead on the journey because they have already traversed the issues that these first people are dealing with. And there are some others that look up to them as a reference of where they want to be. So that's why being part of a group, a community is so important. So number one, and number two, you build opportunities for learning, you skill yourself by having these conversations and whatnot. So that's why to me, when it's lonely, whatever function you are, these communities of practice become really, really interesting. And to go back to your other point about inclusion, first of all, everybody's invited to what we do. Yes, we do it in English because, well, I think that's, as of now, continues to be the most common language, perhaps, that people in the professional world speak. Um, you know, Plus, we don't speak another language. So it would be pretty hard for us to build panels in another language, but everybody's invited here. And this is what's interesting. Whenever I don't join the events that much anymore because of all the activities, and I have a little team doing the events. But every time that I do, and we ask the question, where are you connecting from? I see some countries that I am like, I just can't believe that you're even here. You know,
Yeah.
like I saw people from Iran
Yeah.
connecting to our programs. And, obviously I am like I like geography and history and the state of the politics in the world. So I read, but you have some assumptions too, right? You are like, well, I mean, maybe you don't have the internet for these kinds of things. And then there are people from Iran connecting to our programs. There are people from Syria
Mhm.
connecting to our programs. There are people from, Lebanon, Ukraine, people from Ukraine connecting to our program. I was like right after the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, when the war started, there were people from Ukraine connecting to our events. And I was like, I just can't believe that you guys are being, there are rockets falling on your city and you're still here investing in yourself. But that's the inclusivity that I think
Mhm.
about. And we never talk about the things that split us, that divide us. And there are many things that can divide us because you have somebody from Iran and somebody from Israel, and you don't know, right? I don't want to have any stereotype, but you may think that their governments don't really like each other. So, you're like, well, you guys are here and we're talking about something that is equally important for both of you. So
Right.
that's the uniting factor, right? And I love that. I love that we were able to build something like that, where somebody from Iran and Israel, from Ukraine and Russia, from Taiwan and China can come here and say, I feel at home. Yes, I know that there's the other guy who maybe my government doesn't like too much, but I'm here, and we are united by important things and not the stupid, meaningless stuff that ultimately end up dividing us. So I think that matters a lot. That matters a lot.
So real life example. I was on a panel with one of your members from India, And we were talking about, AI in the workforce, which I know you're very passionate about. And we became very fast friends, connected on the side, and are working on some things together. So because he's like, I need your product. I'm like, yes, you do. And so, I have clients that are, going to India, like, let's figure this out together. So it's not just like community building, but, you're helping each other too, which I really love. But I
Yeah.
know you have a point of view on AI, and I have a point of view on AI actually, but I really would like to learn what your point of view is, because it is 100% changing the way we work.
Yeah. Well, I do the programs on AI. I'm doing another one now, and I just launched the enrollment will open soon. I just launched a new program, which is for senior leaders, whom I call AI integration leaders, whether they are in HR or not in HR, because the far-reaching scope of what AI can do, but simultaneously the complexity of business transformation to bring in AI requires holistic thinking that can't be siloed into any function, which is the reason why we will not have, and if we do, it's going to be short lived, but we shouldn't have like an HR AI officer or like a legal AI officer or like an IT AI officer. AI will touch everything. The same tool will touch everything. The same process reengineering augmented with AI will deliver value across the board and across silos. So that's part of my take, right, with this new program, but also part of my take with AI. It's far-reaching, it's in a scope, it's complex, and it will require a very, very holistic thinking. The other, so I see a lot of great opportunities in that sense. The flip side of that, obviously, is that I think that we are underestimating the value and the true impact of AI and how quickly it will disrupt industries and how slow it will be to create the new jobs. And when I say slow, don't think about it slow as a slow. Think about it slow in comparison to the speed at which some jobs will be disrupted. So it's going to be a lot slower than the jobs that will be disrupted by AI. And I feel that governments, particularly in the US, we are talking about leveraging the power of AI, but not about what's going to happen with the people who are going to lose their jobs and they won't find anything else, certainly not in the short term. So the humanizing of AI is not, to me, goes way beyond combining the power of AI and humans to deliver value for work. To me, the concept of humanizing AI is what are we going to do with the millions of people who will most likely lose their jobs to AI and they are probably not employable in the short term. They won't be turning into the new careers that we talked about because maybe their skills are completely different or obsolete by now. And that's a reason for concern because we know what happens when the economy, does that to people, and we know the history of politics and the history of wars and the history of revolutions when things like this happen. Having AI disrupt data says that in the next 10 years, it's going to be something like 90 million jobs. But even if in 1 year alone, even if next year, AI displaces 5 million jobs in the US alone, that is a catastrophe. That is a massive catastrophe. And we're not prepared for that. I don't think HR will be able to resolve this alone. It can't. I don't think any business alone should or can resolve this alone. I just think we have to come together and we have to call our politicians, we have to call our Senate members, we have to call our representatives and tell them what's going to happen when my job gets replaced with AI. Business leaders have to tell the truth about this. Politicians have to tell the truth about this because it's going to happen. I'm not hyping this thing. It's going to happen. And we are so utterly unprepared for the true impact of AI that is very scary, very scary.
What advice would you have? Because I think a lot of people are scared of AI. What advice do you have for HR and TA folks out there navigating right now?
I would say don't come from a place of from being scared. Come from a place of opportunities, but also knowing that there are likely scenarios that will play out because of the impact of AI. So some people will lose their jobs, and if they don't lose their jobs, The other side of that is maybe your company stops hiring people for a while until they figure out what's gonna be the true impact of AI. So I'll say come from a place of understanding, of open-mindedness, come from a place of exploring the possibilities and begin from there. So you don't have to fire somebody tomorrow because AI can do their job faster and the job of 10 people. Because as you do that, you can imagine what else you will need down the road that you can keep those people
Exactly.
employed. So come from a place of openness to possibilities. That's my advice. To do that, you have to really be able to think about the impact of AI. That's when I say come with a vision of possibilities. Coming from a vision of possibilities doesn't mean coming as a dreamer. It means coming as a doer. So a
Mm,
dreamer won't be able to make a difference in this era. A dreamer can say, "Oh, I dream with my humans being able to talk to each other and collaborate and create things, and AI doing all our dirty stuff, transactional stuff." Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be able to do that, you got to know how to do it. Come with the idea in mind of the openness to possibilities, but learn how to tap into those possibilities and seize the moment, right? Otherwise, you're just a dreamer, not acting, and easily replaceable by the ones who are dreamers and doers.
it's interesting. Your AI class, it took us through lots of different platforms and different use cases. And you challenged us to figure out like what is our favorite and why is our favorite. Oddly enough, my favorite was creating images. It just was a creative outlet for me, right? But then I felt a little bit sensitive about, well, am I wasting, data to be creative with something I could do with paint? But
Yeah.
it was beautiful, and it's so fun to see how people are leaning in to use it. And the use cases I've seen, obviously, where I play is helping our community be more fulfilled in their roles, right? Do some of the dirty stuff, the automating some of that stuff, so they can spend more time with the humans. But I see your point. Like we need to have a broader, even the conferences I've attended that you've put on about AI, there were aspects to it that I never even thought of, right? Because I'm over in this lane. And then when I started thinking about how it impacts everything, every job, it was a little bit, awe inspiring to hear the complexity of that because I think you're either on one side or the other. Either you think it's too complex or you think you're so submissive that you think it's like, it's not a big deal. And I don't know where everybody lies, but I think I've been pretty much in the middle. But as I learn more, it's interesting to see where we're going and who is implementing this type of technology. So it's so
Yeah.
fun.
The program that I am doing right now, which is the third program on AI that I do in the past 1 year, is focused on one goal and one goal only. And when I started the program, I told the students very clearly, my goal is to equip you with the tools you need to be the AI integration leader in your organization. That is my one goal. To be able to do that, yes, you have to learn what the tools available are, which we did in the program that you joined. You have to learn about how to use ChatGPT or Claude or whatever platform you use. You have to learn about how to use them. But that is 1% of what you need in order to be an AI integration leader. That's like on the ground level. Now I gotta take you up to 50,000 feet above Earth to be able to see how that tiny thing with all the millions of tiny things like that combine to create a holistic picture so that you see the entire forest and not just the one tree. And that's the program that I'm doing next. And it's going to be is a strategic AI in business leadership. And it's meant to help not just HR people, and I told them this is not a program for HR anymore. This is a program for anybody who wants to take over the role of integrating HR across processes in the organization or across what I call the workplace ecosystem, which is governance, data, people, culture, processes, ethics, and whatnot. So I already started thinking completely different about the true impact of AI in the workplace.
Beautiful. It
Great.
has been such a pleasure, Enrique. It's been such a pleasure spending this time with you and getting to know you a little bit deeper. And I'm glad to say that I was right about your heart. So definitely a community builder and activator. If someone wants to connect with you or join this AI leadership program that you're talking about, Where should they reach out? How should they get involved?
They can go to my LinkedIn and reach out to me via LinkedIn. They can go to my email. I have two emails, Enrique at hackinghr.io. So they can reach out to me either way. I manage them all in the same Outlook. So it's pretty easy for me to respond to one or the other. So that's the way you find me. And I am extremely responsive most of the time anyway. And I will make sure to try to address any questions or maybe guide people to the right person in either team to address any question that may come up.
Beautiful. Well, I would like to tell you, as your friend and colleague, thank you for your heart and everything that you do for our community. And from our community, if you have not heard lately, we love you very much and your team. So thank you for everything that you do for us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Guys, like, follow, subscribe, and connect with this man. See you next time.